All right. Hello, Aquarius. So good to see everybody. We're starting right on time today. Lots of energy, lots of information coming through for your sign. And I have a feeling today is going to hopefully make an impact in the next 6 to 8 weeks. So now that we're in the throes of retrograde, lots of shifting and changing energy was presenting itself as I was tuning in this morning, especially. And we'll get into that in just a moment. First things first, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Right behind you, you'll see Apollo there chilling out. I'm here to help you with the next 6 to 8 weeks. I always read 1 month in advance, so this is for the month of May. But if you're watching these last few days of April, there'll still be some important morsels of information to get you set up for the month ahead. This is the general format. Sometimes we twist and turn depending on what is needed, but we're going to start with the channel messages first, then we'll get into the Celtic Cross. Interestingly enough, today's channeled message was actually like in dreams last night. I was reading cards and I remembered the key cards from a Celtic deck. I was basically having a conversation with a representation of you, and I was like, pay attention. I woke up and I scribbled down which placements that we would be talking about. So it's almost like I'm pulling cards twice for you today, but give me just a second here to pull up the presentation. The main thing that I was getting here is basically if you don't succeed on the first attempt, continue to try. I was seeing at least 2 attempts that may not have worked. The third or fourth time is where it's a charm and where everything just kind of falls together perfectly. And this is a month during which you'll be releasing anchors. I like this as an alternate to thinking of like the devil card. Anchors, just things that are holding us down. And then of course, the other day I was out gardening a little bit and a spider fell on my head and then fell on the ground and then scurried away. So we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of understanding your capacity to weave your own faith, because the spider is your animal totem. But let's start first with what I saw in dreams. I've been doing this long enough that sometimes I'll just see the cards or personifications of the cards, like a living embodiment of it in my dreams. In this particular moment, I was actually putting spread on the table and talking to someone that I couldn't see. What I remember from the spread was death being at the center. The fool was crossing that. So the death, I put both on the center. So death and then the fool. So needing to walk beyond something. I should say death. The fool was crossing, the crossing card. And basically what this means is that sometimes when we're at that crossroads of change, it can be a little bit difficult. It can be a little bit daunting. And sometimes we're focusing on what didn't work. And then the 2 of Wands was auspiciously placed in the near future. And so that means that once you're willing to let go of, look beyond what has passed, you can see something new opening up. And then I saw a hand from Spirit pointing to, like it was representing you. I think it was in the soul space, the Page of Pentacles, but it was almost as if the page was looking over its shoulder, kind of like the Knight or the Page of Swords does, but it was the Pentacles. So it's saying, don't let an opportunity pass you by. Don't look at something that didn't work and think that it's always not going to work. It was really a perspective shifting sort of energy. Again, I saw at least 2 attempts to achieve something, and it doesn't mean that you're going to fail twice. It might mean that you're going to adjust. So when we think of like research and development, when we think of releases of products, or even when you think of musicians, a lot of times the first album may not be perfect. The second one, sometimes they're trying to, strike gold twice or something. It's like sometimes the 3rd or 4th album where they have this mass sort of breakout or release. So just realize that it's not important how many attempts that it takes. You really owe it to yourself to complete something that you want to do. It's more a matter of seeing that you can do it, believing that it is possible, and wanting. This is the key, and it's going to carry over into the next card in the next slide. Wanting to make the change. The wanting is going to also help you get away from what we see here with the devil energy or the anchoring energy. So I was shown anchors that could inhibit your progress. So I see an opportunity that's knocking. I see Spirit pointing to an opportunity. I also see this sort of reluctance because it didn't work once or twice. That's just part of the learning process, like riding a bike. You have to, put a Band-Aid on, keep trying, eventually you can do it. So some examples of anchors would be, addiction, obsession, disbelief, fear. They can take different forms like excess, so overworking, overspending, overeating, overexercising, overanalyzing, over anything is too much. So it's basically finding the right balance. Obsession is another anchor, obsessing over someone or something that doesn't want to connect with you or that you can't control anyway. Self-deprecation, addiction or unhealthy habits, all of these things the devil likes because it holds you in place. But Spirit is saying this month is a portal. So we're going to say goodbye to El Diablo. We're going to walk through the portal of change, and we're going to accept, entertain, or at least dream that this next trial could be much easier because you have all of this experience within you. One important thing, and it's the third bullet down, you can't make someone else change and they can't make you change unless that desire is already within. So if you have I specifically get this for parents, teachers, or caretakers. If there's someone that you are charged with being responsible for, but they don't want to make the necessary changes, there's only so much as a caretaker that you can do, as a teacher, as a mentor, as a friend. At some point, they have to turn the light bulb on, the switch on within and say, aha, yes, I can do this. So don't beat yourself up if someone won't change. I'll give you a real life example. My dad's already in spirit, but when I was a child, he was a lifetime smoker. I don't smoke. But I learned when I was probably in like the 5th grade, 6th grade, like that there was all kinds of bad things in cigarettes, like arsenic and, just tons of stuff, tar and, even nicotine's not good. But anyway, I brought home like all the stuff that I'd learned and tried to have a conversation. And he just condescendingly patted me on the back and laughed and then went out inside and smoked a cigarette. I wrote on all his cigarettes, "Dad, please stop," and all kinds of stuff. I tried, it didn't work. He ultimately ended up getting cancer, COPD, and heart failure. He got everything on the back of the cigarettes package. I couldn't stop him, and it was his decision, it was his life. But at the end of the day, that also taught me a lesson. I still loved him, and I still supported him, and it didn't mean that the love stopped. It just meant I can't stop it. Even as a kid, I was like, this is dumb, don't do it. But it was his life and his choice, and who am I to decide for someone else? All you can do is inform, support, and open up that this might be good for someone, but they have to choose eventually to do it. He never did, but sometimes people do. That kind of freed me from having to fix everyone or fix everything. Just be there and be the voice of reason, but focus more on yourself and realize that if you want it, you can do it. You can make the change happen. It takes work. And that's the important thing. So sometimes I like to share from my own life because it helps, that we all go through struggles. And even as a little kid, I could see that, but you can't always fix people. So give yourself permission also to focus and rein the energy in and do something with your own life. Focus on where you can make a difference. And that's going to empower you. Because that was also an anchor that I'm like, I can't put the energy in this. It's not going to work. The spider landing on my head was very much an indicator of what you could be focusing on, which was, where are you weaving your threads of fate and change? You are co-creating with source energy. So your future is whatever you want it to be. This is a very sticky totem, and this card in general too, in a good way, attractive, magnetic. And if you do something this time, it will work, it will stick. Retrograde is all about second chances. 8 of Cups, judgment. Basically, it's coming around again, and this time it can really be different. So let's talk a little bit about the spider, and then we'll get into the reading. As I said, it's a totemic reminder that we are all weavers of our own fate. If you don't like what you see, change it. And if you have the capacity to see it here, then you have the capacity to breathe it into existence. But you have to create that new foundation. The other thing that I saw was like needing to clean the floor, needing to clear the foundation. That Fool card is also about clearance, creating a new pattern, a new tapestry. Every day a spider cleans out its web. It cuts cords. It cuts some of those broken pieces of the web and respins it if need be. It does the whole thing if it has to, but sometimes just small sections. They're very much akin to the high priestess spiders because they focus on vibration, not just what they're seeing. It's combination, but they're also picking up on frequencies. So this is a time to really listen to your intuition, and it should bring you in the right direction. Powerful messages, always really cool as a reader when I actually see cards in the dreams, and and it kind of comes forward. For those of you, it sounds like some of you are actually dealing with trying to cut an addiction or something. It can change, get the support that you need, and it comes from an internal desire to just want to not do this anymore. It's work. It's like getting back into shape or something like that. It takes a little bit of effort, but invariably it's worth it in the long run. So I wish all of you support and success on whatever dreams and whatever sort of goals that you're working on. All right, let's get back into the reading now, into the Celtic Cross portion. Let me just zoom the camera in. Welcome everybody. This is where I'm actually gonna be using the Lightseers deck because I featured a few of those cards in my channel messages. So let's see what next month has in store. Welcome to the newest members, by the way. Good to see you. Welcome to all my existing subscribers and members. I couldn't be here without you guys, so I appreciate it. And I will say thank you individually later. Just give me a moment here to pull all of the cards, and then we'll make some sense of what's coming through. Oh, wow, we got triplicate there. Okay. I'll honor that whenever that happens. I was distracted by a comment, but we have 3 cards here coming in the final Destiny portion, so that'll be interesting. Okay, let's get started, folks. We're going to begin with the Catalyst card. The Catalyst helps us create connections, get us in the right direction, basically make things happen. How appropriate is it that we have divine feminine energy in the form of Athena here? Strategic work is going to be essential. And so this is a time to lean into your learnings, into your wisdom. That's possibly what all of the previous attempts were about. So sometimes, I believe this, I mean, not sometimes, always. I view rejection as redirection, as protection, as an ability for you to get on the right path. And she's saying just listen to your logic, fight for what matters, speak up, and then act in a different sort of pattern this time, because retrograde can be making and breaking a pattern. So create something different this time around and use previous experiences as your sort of foundation. And you can't go wrong if you've done your research. That's the other thing. Do your homework, do your research, lean on facts, especially when you need to negotiate. It's going to put you in a really powerful space. Okay, focusing now on your centermost card, the King of Pentacles. Couldn't ask for much of a better card in the center. This is putting you in a position, again, to get what you need and get what you want. King of Pentacles is one of the best cards for managing resources, for managing business, for dealing with money and opportunities, and also has like a green thumb. So the ability to take something and really make it grow. I like all of that. With the card in reverse, it's saying he's focusing a little bit more on asking for what is necessary for himself. This is a card that also rules the home, particularly like if you're looking at investing in the home, fixing things up. It's also environmental. So the places you spend the most time in, your house, your car, and your office ostensibly, those places need to feel like they're homey and comfortable, and that you can do what you need to do there. And you might also be bringing in this kind of energy, a partnership where someone really wants to kind of nest or connect with you, possibly in business too. So it could be love or business, but it's a very devoted energy. With the card in reverse, it's saying don't be afraid to ask for what it is that you need, because you've done a lot of work for others and you may need some support to make these necessary changes in your life right now, okay? This is crossed by the Sun card, and the Sun is a chance for you to connect to Source, of course, It's also a chance to birth, to release, to create, and all of these things are exciting as well. Very auspiciously placed on this. So it's saying, if you ask for what it is that you need, if you decide to invest in yourself, maybe going back to school, taking a class or doing something where you just feel like it's for enrichment, I see a positive outcome on that. This is birthing, so this could also say that there could be something that you've been holding on to for too long. Either the King or Queen of Pentacles in reverse is usually saying it's time to release, it's time to deliver, it's time to let go. This is also the inner child that wants to have some fun, that wants to come out and play. So this is a time for you to also make sure that you're not denying yourself a chance to really express yourself. Great energy to be right at the center of the spread. Let's look at what's been going on. I mean, I actually love this. Let's just take a moment to pause and see what's going on here. Success, friendship and relationships and community, opportunity, wealth, resources. But somehow this question of can I, should I, am I doing this? Should I get this? Do I deserve this? Yeah, look at this work. Look at what you've been working on. So I want to help you get through some of the disbelief maybe, or the doubt or the surprise here, because it feels like so much is moving in the right direction. And everything else here is in a really good space too. So let's try to get you into a place where you feel like, I've got this, I deserve this, because you do. So in the deep past, we have the Six of Wands. A reminder with Six of Wands, you can't make everyone happy. We see all of those hands reaching out, ready to receive whatever you're willing to give. So proper boundaries is going to be essential in this period of time. Knowing that success ultimately is an internal barometer. It's not a grade on a report card. It's not a gold star. It's not a trophy. It's just this feeling like I did what I set out to do. It's here. So if you're feeling it here, other people are going to feel that as well. Focus on fulfillment, not just recognition. They're not the same. They can be together, but they're not always the same. So fulfillment can lead to success, and the two can kind of support one another. But I want to make sure you're feeling satisfaction for the work you've done. And you are someone that's worthy. Basically, if the success card comes in the deep past like this, it's saying you've successfully learned a lot of lessons. You're a good person to have on other people's team. You should see your own worth. Okay? Now let's move on to recent past. There could have been some new energy coming into your life. So this can be a baby. This can be love, a baby, an opportunity, something new, a birthing. And it came to you because of the work you did on yourself. This could be a relationship. If it's a relationship, it may be kind of like progressing faster than expected. If it's a project, the same thing. People want you to sign on the dotted line, or there could be a proposal, or again, I said this was kind of a nesting energy. Someone might be really eager to start a family or to settle down. So make sure that you want that, because this card is reversed. Focusing first on this, don't underestimate your ability to network and to tap into that network in this period of time. Ten of Cups is a very, very positive card. It's basically showing the impact that you have on others, that again, your voice and your energy is something that people want to be a part of. And so reach out and really kind of have some fun and continue to develop this network. The older that all of us get, at least this is what I've discovered in my own life, is, it's the chosen family, it's the friends, the co-workers, the neighbors that end up being the ones that stick around, because as family gets older, they pass on. Sometimes family can drive you a little bit crazy. So it's those chosen people in your life in the Ten of Cups that may end up constituting your family. So really lean into that and develop that a little bit more. As we look at your crowning card, like I said, there's a little bit of pressure here. For some of you, it's familial or societal. Your family or the people around you expected you to succeed almost from the point that you were out of the womb. If we look at this, you can kind of see it's an egg. So it's sort of like you were destined for success. But that's a lot of pressure to put on a little kid. Little kids are supposed to have the ability to, fall down, scrape their knee, make a mistake. You're not supposed to be perfect. That's not really what the life experience is about. It's about learning from successes and from failures, because failure is just a word that we use to describe an experience that is basically struggle. It's not as easy as we'd like it to be. So we judge it and we put this label on it, but you're still learning. There is really no failure unless you ignore the lesson. Then it repeats. I don't see it in the spread. You don't have the devil here. You've released enough anchors that you're not going to go down that path unless you want to. So one last anchor is the feeling like I owe it to my family. I owe it to myself. I can't afford to fail. You're not failing as long as you're trying and applying lessons. That's what Athena cares about. Did you learn from what you did? Are you not going to repeat it? Then you didn't fail. You experienced something that was difficult, but it's not failure unless it's repeated, right? So just learn, adapt, change, and apply those lessons, and then you're always on that path towards growth and expansion. So success is just, we don't want to focus so much. It's a nice thing to have, but it's really more growth. If I was a teacher in a traditional school, I would care more about growth, fulfillment, excitement, and intrigue. I'd want to spark that sort of flame in the people that were learning from me. I don't care so much if they got an A+, A-, B+, whatever. The GPA doesn't matter when you leave school, folks. Nobody asks me what I got in second year freshman English or something. Who cares? Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. It's just silly. So for those of you that are out there and you had a bad grade, or if you got missed over for a promotion at work, or someone else kind of got something you wish you had, it will not matter probably 5 years from now. Don't let it ruin your day. Don't let it take you out of an experience or an opportunity. Don't let it subtract joy from your life. Learn from it, grow from it, and go into a different path. Okay. I honestly can't remember certain grades that I got and certain teachers' names. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's the lesson and the application that matters. 10 of Pentacles is also reversed, so there is a need for some of you to pull back from how many things you're involved in. I want you to network, sure, but you shouldn't have your schedule so full that it feels like you're running around trying to catch your breath. A few days here and there, great, but it's not something that is sustainable. Overall, this is a card of success and graduation, so I like where you're headed. I just want you to be able to sustain this level of engagement and movement, okay? Now, let's take a look at the Eight of Swords in reverse, which is in the near future state. So this is one of my favorite Eight of Swords. First of all, I like the fact that it's reversed because this person is starting to see her worth. She's focusing less on fears, anxieties, and in this particular deck, the crows or ravens can represent also words that people say. So sometimes those words fly around us and try to kind of get in our headspace. So she's finally looking away from the lens of society, social media, friends, family, all that jazz, and she's just saying, but how do I feel? I think I feel okay. I don't know if I really care what's going on with all that other stuff, or I'm not going to give it as much power as I used to. Eight of Swords in reverse is seeing something for what it truly is. It's about asking questions, not being afraid to shake the tree a little bit. You know, if you're in a meeting or if you're talking to someone and they don't want to hear it, but you just need to ask the question. Say, I'm sorry, I know we want to move on, but this is something we need to address. And I want to just make sure that I understand it or that we're not glossing over this. People don't like that, but if you see something, say it. And if they don't like it, again, kind of like what I said before, all you can do is call attention to something. You can't fix something that's broken, and you can't make someone do something that they don't want to do. But you will feel good at the end of the day knowing, I tried. And then you can focus on doing something that does work. That way you've done everything and you can live karma and conscious free, and all is well in the universe. Eight of Swords in reverse also says if something doesn't seem right, get a few opinions on it. Don't just take your gut instinct. Don't just take one opinion. I would say get 2 or 3 opinions. I was seeing 2 or 3 coming up in that reading that I was looking at. I did get a 2 of Wands when I was tuning in energetically. So I feel like you're going to figure out how to get through whatever it is that's challenging you at present. All right, let's take a look at how you're showing up here. And you're showing up pretty well. So the Knight of Swords is basically showing quick movement. And Aquarius, swords, of course, represents you. So this is saying once you've decided to do something, once you've gotten yourself connected to something, it's almost as if momentum picks up on itself. All you have to do is continue to show up and you're going to see that movement happen. The initial portion may be a little bit harder. We see him sprinting to get to the motorcycle. The other thing that we see here is I'm imagining with these two cards, he's done some research and it may have cost a little bit of time, but the research will save time in the long run. So when I look at the sort of archer's bow in the background, what I'm thinking of is that, you know, he figured out, what am I really trying to do? Because otherwise we're just running around in circles. You can move really quickly and not go anywhere, right? So having a GPS and a fixed point is going to be so important. And if you can do that, I feel like you're going to be setting yourself up for success. This is communicative. So speaking up, like I said, important. This is action and actionable. So taking action, doing things that are constructive, putting things to practice every day. This is hands-on. So rolling up your sleeves and being a part of the change, being a part of the work, all of these things, this is how you're showing up and this is where your power is. So speak up, act accordingly, and research, and then you're going to save yourself time. And it feels like things are just going to move along swimmingly once that happens. In the environment, we see the first sort of challenge outside of this card, and that is emotions, managing emotions, maybe not getting swept up in someone else's drama. Since the Queen of Cups is in the environment, it's not necessarily you, and it's not necessarily your emotions. This could be someone who just needs a lot. They could be going through a breakup, a death, a loss, challenges. Some of the things that I was picking up on with maybe addictions or the anchors, this person could have those anchors in their life. And you are more like the Queen of Cups upright, trying to figure out how to stay zen, but they're kind of on the other end of the spectrum. So remember what I said. You can offer a life preserver or a life raft, but you don't have to be the life preserver or the life raft. Give them the tools, the resources, and the support, but you're not the thing that they're holding on to, because you don't want both of you to go down. So you're there to empower, to inform, to connect, but reserve some of the energy for yourself. Throw the preserver, don't be the preserver. That's what I'm getting here. Ultimately, this can also represent your ability to channel stuff right now. So creative outlet. Also, for some of you that have been through something tricky or difficult or just sad in your life, you can also take that knowledge and that experience and put it into art, into counseling, into something where you feel like you're kind of exercising it. And that also is favorable. All right, your sensitivity is heightened. So again, that's why I want you to be careful of someone that might be pulling you down like the anchor. No time for that. Opportunities. The Emperor, strategic, a very strategic Emperor at that. All right, so the Emperor is in the reverse state. Some of you are maybe for the first time in a while speaking up and taking control of things. And it is always interesting to look at people that maybe knew you when you were a kid or 5 or 10 years ago, and they look at you now and they're like, oh, wow. Listen, maybe even the way that you speak has changed or the way that you hold yourself. I see this new sort of newfound voice or power that don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to kind of like harness that if you're ready. What I had to do in my own life was to pull myself out of situations in order to be the new me. So I had the main reason, like all these years later, 8.5 years at this point later, when I left my job, I needed to leave so that I could be the writer, producer, creator, YouTuber that I knew that I wanted to be, because I could never be that at the place that I was working at, because they only saw me through one lens and it was a limited one at that. So when I got out, it was the fool. Anything could happen. It was the beginning of a journey. So allow yourself to find a place where you can be free and you can use that newfound power and voice, and it gets stronger and better with each year. I can say that from my own experience. Strategy. This is the one thing that keeps coming through. So we have a few symbols of that. The archery symbol coming up multiple times. Well, actually at least once here. The wisdom sort of symbol here with the owl, and now this. So we have an owl, we have a bow and an arrow, and we have this chess piece. And it's basically saying, figure out what you're going to do 1 or 2 moves from now. That's when you really start to become effective at manifesting, when you're thinking of 1, 3, 5, 10 years down the line. What's next? So focusing on the long term. And that's why I'm telling you, from my own experience, you're not going to care about this one little thing. Nobody will ask you when you're 50 or 70, did you have perfect attendance in school? Nobody's really probably going to ask you in your circle of friends what your GPA was, again, sophomore year of high school or college. It doesn't come up in conversations, doesn't. They don't care if you passed French in school or if you got a C, whatever. It doesn't matter. But what does matter is how wise you are, how hard you work, how kind you are, how creative you are, what you can bring to the table. The older you get, it's not so much, kind of like where you went to school, what your grades are. It's kind of like, well, show me what the proof is in the pudding. What have you done with this? Especially as you get 3, 5, 10 years down your career, or when you're retired, it's like, what's next? So it's more sort of like, what impact are you making on the world? That's what matters. Okay. These other things in certain circles at certain times, they have a certain meaning. But if we look at the tapestry of our life, like the spider web, at the end of the life, it's just one little facet, one little piece. So don't let one thing get in the way. Focus on the long-term goal, okay? Let me see if there's anything else. This can be mom, dad, teacher, or friend in your life that is trying to control you. So part of what you're doing this month is taking the steering wheel back and deciding, you know what, I don't need to deal with that anymore. Kind of feels like Mars energy here. So some of you might be also having a little bit of tug of war too when it comes to proving that that power, that voice. Fight for what you care about. Fight for things that matter, not for everything. That's one thing too. Pick and choose your battles, I guess is a better way to say that. I mentioned the 8 of Pentacles. I had the spider web because that spider fell on my head a couple days ago. I love the 8 of Pentacles because it's a card of investment and a return on the investment. The card's reversed, but let's look at it upright. We see her putting her knowledge to practice. Reading, kind of like mixing things up. It's almost like this is magic, but it could be anything, any sort of alchemic or application type of work here. So 8 of Pentacles, what does it include? School, editing, especially when reversed. So this could be revising, editing, researching, and also reconsidering things. Maybe even deciding to change a trajectory. I studied this, but I can apply it here if I add this, maybe get this certification. So it's changing and repackaging and repurposing, editing and revising. Perfect for retrograde and post-retrograde shadows. So most of next month, this will still be perfect for that. And again, if you're thinking of training or going back to school, writing something down, doing a curriculum, publishing, editing, all these things are absolutely underlined and kind of like circled, highlighted. It's all good, folks, okay? I actually really love the overarching energy of the month. What we do see here, if we look at the subtraction of 2, 10 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles, then we have the King of Pentacles in reverse. Basically, all of the Pentacles are reversed. So it's saying, I need to take a little bit out of this for myself, and I still have more than enough. And you do. So say no to one of the sort of extracurricular things. Say no to one opportunity on the horizon that just isn't what you want. Focus more on taking something here and saying, well, I need this time, I need this day, I'm going to focus on self-care. All of this is going to help you be stronger, find your power, see your worth, not kind of like give in to other people's emotional energies, and just start to make some progress and some headway on things. To that end, let's go ahead now and expand the forecast and look at health, wealth, love, and destiny and see how you can really maximize these parts of your life. Okay, we're going to actually start with health, which is mind, body, and spirit. I'm just going to pull the card up for this. We have the rings of time on this beautiful card here. So just like if you were to take a cross section of a tree, maybe one that's been petrified, or just even if the one's been cut in your yard, we see rings of varying sizes. During years where we see like a lot of abundance and a lot of water, there's going to be a really thick ring. When there's a drought, when there's some sort of, nature's just not very nice that year, you're going to see a very small ring, or there's been a fire or something like that, a natural disaster. That's what I was trying to say. So if we were to look at the rings of our life, they would be similar. There are some years where we just grow exponentially. And then there are other years where it's like you're barely getting by, right? So take a moment to celebrate just how far you've come. And if you're in one of those years where it's difficult, reach out. I love that we see so much support here. You've definitely done the lion's share of supporting others. So this is your time to ask for help and support. And if you have a little extra to give, you can give extra to the people around you as well. So it ebbs and flows. Life isn't it's not symmetrical. Not all the rings are going to look the same. We have years that are very high, very low, okay? Most of them are somewhere in the middle, thank goodness. But if you're in one of the extremes, try to be appreciative or sort of loving and caring for yourself. It's normal. Let's see what other messages are coming through for health this month. Also just time management, because we see rings of time here. So just making sure that you're cognizant of the expenditure of how much time and energy you're putting into things. I think that's going to be important here. I see, like I said before, pressure from family, from peers, from coworkers. So make sure that you're spending enough time. The cards that are very pleasant here, this could be your immediate friends or family and or your children. So putting more energy kind of like in the core unit, a little less in all of that external stuff, I think is going to be important. Get something checked out if you have any questions. Get a couple of opinions, like I said, at least two if you're not feeling it or if you feel like you're not being heard. When we talk about relationships, that's usually what this card is about. I feel like anything you start, let's say new exercise, new diet, new whatever it is that you're doing. By the way, standard disclaimers apply. Work with a professional if you're making any changes like that. But anything that you agree to work on with a professional here, we're starting to see movement in a really good way. Applying those skills and seeing fast progress. The one thing you want to focus on is emotional vulnerability, emotional sensitivity, and then also people around you that are highly sensitive or needing just a little bit extra, needing a lot. Get your eyes and ears checked out if you haven't already. Anytime Two of Swords or Eight of Swords comes up, it's good for that. Otherwise, it's just saying, hey, this doesn't feel right in my body. I think I should talk to the appropriate professional, whether it's an ache and pain in your bones or something in your mouth, whatever it is, it's always worth checking out. That's what, well, unfortunately in America, we have to pay for our insurance, but if you're lucky enough in Europe to have that insurance and it's free or anywhere else, use it. That's what your insurance is for. You want to make sure that you've got everything checked off that list. Okay, let's go ahead now and move on to wealth. I'm going to take a quick drink as we talk about this. We're going to look at life purpose, career, resources. It's for any stage, whether you're student, employed, or retired. I always kind of cast a wide net on this one. Okay, so the card, and I use Ganesha to help us with this. So Lord Ganesh says it's about divine support. And I mentioned that support was going to play a really big role, whether it's your immediate family or the peers and that sort of extended family that you've been creating. Don't be afraid to ask for support because the card was reversed. We've been less so in the 21st century, more so in the 20th century. So for those of you born before 2000, which includes me, it was not so supported to sort of admit that, hey, I'm not feeling good, or this is triggering me. Like, we just didn't talk about our emotions back before it feels like the turn of this century. I'm glad to see it changing. I wish that it would change even more. And I wish that asking for help or admitting that you're having a tough time would be seen as a signal of growth and strength and recognition of where you need to do the work. And that's all it is. So if you need to ask for help, ask for help. Okay, now this is in wealth, which is interesting. So it could just be the stress management that we're picking up on. The other thing that's coming through here is there's a lot of people that are interested in you right now. People that might be interested in romantic or friendship sort of connections or business. There could be a crossover as well. One of your challenges here is making sure that you're ready to receive it. The Queen of Cups was reversed. She's not ready to receive love and abundance in the highest forms. It could be around you, it could be you, but I want you to be open to receive this. This is one of the best resource cards that could come through. And this is a great card for education. So I'm seeing a lot of value and a lot of worth. I think you've got what it takes this month to really make a breakthrough, but you have to believe it. Disbelief was the one thing that I couldn't help the sort of person in the dream that I couldn't see, which is ostensibly all of Aquarius. But it was, there was somebody or collectively an energy out there where I was just needing to say, you can do this, you can make the change, or you're worth whatever you're getting. But I can't make you see it. I can just help you see that it's here and hope that you'll embrace it. Because if the universe is offering stuff up to you, that's why all the ace cards in Rider-Waite-Smith have a hand. It's the universe sort of saying, do you want it? Are you ready? But you have to take that. And so I can only kind of show you that it's all aligned in a positive way for you. So open yourself up. It feels like abundance is knocking on the door, and I like that. You may feel underappreciated. If you do, look around. This is for those of you that are currently working. So for those that have a job and you're not feeling great about it, look around. It does feel like maybe you're not being seen. One thing that is going to help you, though, is feeling confident, having a good conversation with your boss or peers about growth and stuff like that. But still, maybe they're just not thinking strategically. So this is when you want to think strategically. Don't threaten and don't do something until you're ready to call your own bluff. Have something in your hip pocket so that if this doesn't work for you, you know your exit strategy. But get the exit strategy first. That's my advice here. Athena is strategic. She's not going to do anything without a signed, sealed, and delivered option in her back pocket. One thing that I will say, though, is if you have to go to someone and try to get them to counter, they didn't see your worth to start with. Is it worth getting the counter? It's nice to have. It feels good. Makes you know that you always had the value and that they're going to wish that they would have done something differently. But do you really want to take the counter? Because it took almost losing you for them to appreciate you. To me, at this stage in life, I probably wouldn't take the counter. It would depend on if it was best for me and or the people that were around me. So if there was a larger sort of audience that was important or depending upon me, then that would be something that I might take into consideration. But if it's just me and someone's not appreciating me, I think in that moment I would think, maybe not. All right, so let's take a look at what's coming next here. If there's anything else. I do like the ability here for you to possibly write, revise, or change something to better suit your needs and your desires. So definitely speak up and ask for what it is that you need. You have a good chance of getting it. King of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles. I'm feeling good about work. I'm feeling good about school. I'm feeling good about resources this month. And again, any stage of life, it looks like you can get a better handle on it. Some of you may just have been in a place where you were afraid to look or never given the option to because a partner, a parent, or a person in your life was doing that. You can do it. One thing that I don't have an MBA. I do have a master's, but it was a creative master's. So when it comes to business, I took a selective few courses in my undergraduate, and every single one was so, I wish I took more. If I could give advice to students out there, take more classes in business. I had like an econ, and I don't think I had an accounting one. I had like 3 business classes. I can't remember them. Like I said, you can't always remember all this stuff years later. I do remember, statistics and analysis and economics. And there was one other business one that I took, maybe just like a general business one. But it was so effective in helping me understand things like supply and demand, and just sort of like, things that you need to understand when it comes to managing a business. But if you are not super comfortable with your finances, you can still understand how to create a business and empower and get a team around you for that. You don't have to have a degree for that. That's what specialists are for. So get a good accountant, get a good lawyer, talk about this stuff, get some opinions on that, and then you can draft it up. This is a month where I saw you cleaning the floor and clearing it out. So don't be afraid to surround yourself with experts and make some good strategic decisions, okay? A good sign of a leader is knowing when to ask for help and when to get clarity. And I feel like you can do that this month. You don't have to know it all. You just have to be around other people who really know their business and can help empower you. And don't be afraid to ask questions if they're talking over your head. Say, break it down. That's Break it down so I can understand it. Put it in black and white. Okay. Let's see. Again, some of you are going back to school. I like that. Some of you might be starting your own business. I like that as well. Just get the long-term strategy together. Create a firm foundation. If you're going to have a DBA, LLC, INC, however you're organizing the business, get that together. Make sure that everything is foundationally sound before moving forward, because there's a desire for this to just rush forward. But we see that this particular Knight of Swords is empowered. So stay empowered, folks, and lean on your support team. Okay, let's move on. We've talked a lot about that. Let's move on to love. For love, we have basically a High Priestess card. It's the Prophet, and the Prophet card is reversed. So it's basically saying you're going to focus on trusting your intuition, and you're also going to make sure that you don't have to be everybody's seer and fixer and supporter. We talked about that before, because the snake on here is a power symbol, but it can also be an anchor, representative of both power but also restrictions or constriction, kind of like the devil energy. Okay, so we're going to focus now on the different levels of relationship status that you might be in. Those of you that are in a loving relationship looking for love, or single and happy. Loving relationships don't have to just be romantic. It's the person that you unconditionally think about and care about the most. Let's focus on that first. So one thing that for those that are romantically involved and maybe have a child, it looks like children or a child, maybe even it can be a boy or just the one that you're focusing on the most. This is the energy that's coming through right now. And in dreams, I did get one child, particularly for some of you, presenting with male energy or dominant energy. And so focusing on helping that kid is going to be the most important thing first and foremost, and creating a safe space for them. Taking that out of the equation, inner child energies are coming to the front right now. It feels like the two of you have nice complementary sort of attributes, and you want to be there for one another. I think the important thing is just to embrace the person for who they are and not try to change them into something that the family expected. This might mean standing up for your partner when your family disapproves, especially if your partner did nothing wrong. The love, the union that you have is stronger and more important than people that are putting strings on their love to you. So stand up for your partner if you need to, especially if, again, you guys are in the right. I think heightened sensitivity is coming through on both sides. It looks like there's a lot going on, and the most important thing you can do for the health of your relationship is appreciation. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thanks for that feedback. Saying I love you, saying I appreciate you, saying I see you. All of those things are going to help strengthen the bonds that already exist. This is interesting. We have a queen and a king here, ostensibly here. Queen of Cups and then the Emperor, which is a king. And basically, they're both stubborn. This person is even more stubborn. And so one of you really has a desire to have it their way. And it's about finding the middle ground. So you don't want to have to be the peacekeeper all the time, every time. So again, figuring out how much energy you want to put into this. There may come a point where it just doesn't make sense anymore to fight. But I feel like if you can work on it this month together, say, this is something that's important to me. I know this is important to you. Can we agree to disagree on this? And if not, then this can also be a mediator. I was looking at the Prophet as that, someone that can help you both see something you can't. So you may need therapy. There comes points in our lives where we all need a third party, and that could be what this is, because these are two powerful cards, one ruling with emotions, one just ruling, and it's hard to get either to see the other's perspective. So a third party might be helpful in this particular situation, particularly with this card as well. Let me take a quick drink and then we'll move on to those of you that are single and looking for love. Whether you're single and looking or you're already in a relationship, family is entering into this, particularly paternal energy, maybe pressing you like, why haven't you gotten married, or why haven't you started a family? And this is hitting everybody, possibly, because I'm looking at that. And honestly, you could just say, it's my life. Why do you care so much? You really are leading your own life. So this is you at the center here. So you have just as much a right to do what you want to do as your parents have a right to kind of say something, but it's your life. And let's just say that's your opinion, that's your perspective. I'm living my life now. I'm an adult. You don't have to kind of like have them tell you who or what to do. I see that sort of breaking away and being the free wild child if you need to. All right, if you're looking for love right now, here's what I'm picking up on. There was some of that needing to be your own person. The other thing here is a lot of energy around work and school. 10 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles. Learning, working, expanding in those directions. So, put your energy into that accordingly. I think that also you're just running around a lot. So trying to create some time to just be present and be with yourself first is what I would advise. The person you're pulling in right now needs a lot emotionally and also might be a little bossy. So one thing that I think you could work on is not necessarily feeling like I need to have a person because I'm expected to have a person, or I need to have a person now. Just allow yourself to be with yourself and know that I'm enough, you're enough. And when and if the person comes through, because time was one of the things for health that matters, it will come through in the right time. Maybe this isn't the right time if they're not showing up. Maybe I can work on myself a little bit more. Self-work, I really feel like if you're in a relationship, awesome, you know what you can focus on. If you're single, it's almost better right now to be single and happy than single and looking. If you're single and looking, I want to see an upgrade here on this. I want to see someone who's not needing as much from you, or you're not needing as much from them. That would be the advice. Things are going to progress quickly when you do meet someone. So I see you quickly landing in a long term down the line. So let's just make sure you're solid and who you're pulling in is solid, so that it's the right kind of person and you don't end up kind of like getting everything official and then you're like, that wasn't it. And then having to undo that. That doesn't make sense. So take your time. And I think that this is really just for those that are single and happy, this is where you should be, because there's a lot of energy in work, school, financial success, and really understanding and reclaiming your power and your worth. Self-worth equals net worth. Worth also attracts higher frequency energies in your life. All right, let's move along to Destiny, because we have 3 cards, and I'm just going to highlight each of them so that we don't get sort of bogged down in each. The Destiny is your trajectory, so we're going to read this as past, present, future, and then we'll look at the Sun, Rising, and Moon messages after that. So we have a Wasp spirit for past energies. Wasps, to me, can be a little prickly when it comes to totems, because they can sting a few times, and they're not the fuzziest and most cuddly sort of energies. I do like them because they're power and they pack a punch. So it's basically saying you can do this, and if you need to sort of pull out all stops, you can do that. But really be mindful of that. And this is sort of like the King or the Queen of Swords in reverse. We want to try to use communication and our sort of day-to-day energy as something that lifts up, not something that cuts down. So be constructive, be kind, and be careful with communication. That's the Wasp spirit. Looking at present, this is very much attached to what we were talking about when I was looking at my dreams. Death, a beautiful version of death. The butterfly can represent transformation. And as it says, transformation is beautiful. There might be this feeling of holding back. I don't want it to happen. I am not ready for this. The Death card shows a person in every walk of life being affected by its energy. Again, if we saw like a magical butterfly on that card, people would probably cuddle around it a little bit more. But whether you're a king, or whether you're an everyday person, or whether you are young, or whether you're old, rich or poor, we all are touched by transformation. And this is a moment when transformative and changing and shifting energy wants to present itself. What is it bringing you? A solid foundation. We have a Builder card. This we could connect to 3 of Pentacles, because that's an architectural card where someone's building something. So it's giving you something stronger, greater, and more. So to review, it's a time to speak up. It's a time to act. It's a time to be kind and constructive if you are going to say something. It's a time to embrace change. It's happening. It's already happening. And to focus on building a stronger foundation. So that's just past, present, future bonus energy that came through because Spirit wanted me to pull a lot of cards. Now we're going to move to Sun, Rising, and Moon before we wrap up. And Sun, Rising, and Moon help you get a little bit clearer lens into those aspects of Aquarius. All right. For the person asking if I could list the deck, it's on my website. It's actually the pinned comment. Just click it there and you'll see it. And I did identify it at the beginning. It's Light Seers. And it's also in the deck that I, like the creative deck. So I always put that link. Okay, let's focus now on sun sign. So this is for everybody that's watching here, especially Aquarius Sun, Seven of Wands in reverse. This is being at peace with peer pressure, with people that are kind of trying to come at you at all angles. She's not getting defensive. She's not bothered. She's going within and thinking, where should I put my energy and my intention today? This almost reminds me of the High Priestess crystal, crystal ball. It's almost like my selenite crystal that I have back there. But she's basically reflecting and deciding, is it worth it? Does it serve me? Should I say this? She's not getting defensive. She's not getting upset. And she is not afraid to delegate. So if there's too much going on, or if she needs more, she'll say, I need resources, or I can't handle this. Not in those words. She would say, this is what I like to focus on. I need to let this go. Where can I, how can we move this around on the schedule? So be that sort of project manager, delegate, push back, and avoid getting defensive unless it's a fight that you really want to fight. This is then a very good card for that. This is someone who you don't want to underestimate. The wasp spirit came through. So she has something up her sleeve and she's able to kind of pull it out and say, actually, she's going to use research and data for that. So the sting comes from the facts and the solid foundation. And then someone has nothing that they can do but say, oh, sorry. Okay. So this is a super successful card. And it's leading you, you're just on the heels of this, so it doesn't surprise me. And when you get successful, there's more scrutiny, there's more attention, there's more people tagging your resources. And that's frustrating, isn't it? But you are going to find a way to deal with it. And then it leads to the Eight of Wands, where we see movement and even more momentum. So I like where you're at. You're in that sort of friction space between the success and then the next level where there's even more success and more movement. So keep doing what you're doing. It looks like things are headed in the right direction. Moving to Rising and Ascendant, Six of Pentacles. This is another sort of balancing act card. So the Six of Pentacles, all of these sort of grabbing hands that we see here, they're showing up again here, and you're going to decide which ones are worth investing in. Traditionally, you would see at least two individuals on the card, and then the person would be holding scales and coins, and they're like, okay, a little bit to you, a little bit to you, something for me too, so that I can have more for tomorrow. So it's about the strategic understanding that you can't, it's why we have bank accounts, basically. We save money, whether you're putting it in your checking or savings, it doesn't matter, because savings don't earn much nowadays, but you basically keep some money and keep some other investments so that you have liquid assets to help you. You don't want to spend it all every day, because if you were at zero each day, you couldn't plan for an accident or an unforeseen event. So we keep a little padding, and that's what this is saying. Keep a little bit extra. Have a little time on your schedule to plan, to reflect. Have a little bit of time to sleep, to play, to frolic, to have some fun. Build in the padding, and saying no is a part of that. No, I can't meet for lunch today, but next Tuesday works for me. Do you want to make it a date? Like that kind of stuff. There's lots of creative ways. It doesn't have to be no, it can be a not yet, or I need this before I do that. So you can always modify it and have like an empowered no. If there's something you don't want to do, just say no, but I know someone who does. There's so many ways. It doesn't have to just be a no. You can redirect if you need to. Okay? So the power comes in the choices, and the choices allow for more abundance. Then you start to see growth and recovery, Seven of Pentacles. Then we start to get back into the Eight of Pentacles, where you have more than enough and you can invest in yourself and you can do other things. So you're on that path towards abundance. Keep it up as well. So far, so good, guys. And then the Moon is ostensibly the most powerful of all three. We have the Magician coming through. And this one we can see, and if you're wondering, where are the elements? The signs for the elements are kind of in each of the energetic sort of like bands of energy that we see there. So what I love with this is that it's all about if you can dream it, you can do it. And it is about choices. There's always one thing that I would say with the Magician, which is discernment, focus, and belief. Magic works if you believe it works. Magic is a new truth waiting to be discovered, but it also works and it happens and it manifests because there is a belief, a vision, and a trust. So you have to believe and envision and trust what you see. And if you can do that, this can be a pretty powerful month for you, okay? So overall, I'm excited. And I got so much energy this morning. I kind of woke up around 4:30 or 5. I had to write out the dreams to remember all of those things. But anyway, I'm really excited with what I see here. There's really not a bad card in the spread, folks. Let's get ready to meditate together, and then we'll take a look at your final question that you might have for me. So if you would please close your eyes, take a deep breath, tune into your body, and see if there's anything that you're holding on to. On the inhale, imagine that you're pulling in light, and on the exhale, just let whatever that is go. Feelings, fears, energies, people, whatever, just let it go. And allow yourself to be supported. I'm getting just the image of a hammock, which I'll go to from time to time in meditation. So see two beautiful trees. They can be big oaks, they can be palm trees, I don't care. Two strong trees holding you up in this hammock, and you're gazing through them at the vast sky above. Let's imagine it's daytime for a change, and it's the bluest of blues. And as you look into this blue sky, you just start to feel like it's taking you to a different time, a different space. And you also feel the opening in the throat chakra, which is going to allow you to speak your mind. So feel that cool, beautiful blue energy permeate your etheric body, and allow yourself to see limitless possibilities. And as you're allowing yourself to just drift here in this ocean of blue, I'm going to play this singing bowl, and then we'll come back in a moment and look at the final card for today. Remember to breathe and focus on what's coming through. Allow yourself to slowly come back into your body, taking a few deep breaths. On the next natural exhale, allow yourself to come back into this lifetime, this body, this moment. Open your eyes if you haven't already. Shift the focus from the sky to your question that you have for me. What is it that you're seeking? What is it you want to focus on? Keep it to yourself as I turn the camera down and take a look at this final card. All right, so for the final card today, we have the Queen of Wands coming through. She's reversed, but that is a strong, almost stubborn energy. And one of the messages here is to be willing, able, and basically open to simply saying, this is what I stand for. So sometimes we do have to speak up and just sort of say no, as we talked about earlier, or you might have to show what you're working on. She's also not bothered if something doesn't exist. She's very open to creating. It's very nicely connected to the magician energy. She's holding the wand just like a magician would hold, and she's saying, I can make this happen. I'll find a way. So being able to think outside of the box, being able to demonstrate something to people that lack imagination, and basically working her magic. This is a time to work your magic. Keep an open mind, that's the only thing, and try not to tell others how, what, when, why to do something, etc. We have a lot of power cards reversed, so focus on doing it for yourself, focus on showing up. Let other people show up too, give them an opportunity to grow and show their value and their worth. It's going to make life a lot easier for everybody. Thank you everybody for showing up today. Before we wrap up, I do notice there's not a lot of likes. It only takes one quick click and it's going to help me get served up a little bit more in the algorithm. And I try not to ask much, but I'm asking right now. If you haven't liked, you can only do it once. It's not like Facebook. So just hit the like once. Subscribe if you haven't already. It allows you to chat in these lives. And if you'd like to join, I saw we had a new member, you can join as well. It helps me develop new projects. I'm working on a podcast for later this year. So keep an eye out. I'm using all of the money right now to kind of fund that. So more to come when that is closer to launch. If you'd like to follow me on social media, it's Nicholas Ashbaugh everywhere. Make sure that you look for verification check marks, look for subscriber count, and remember that I do not offer any sort of private readings. You can always go to my website to make sure that you have the right addresses as well. But I don't DM, I don't offer private readings, and I'm not going to offer things up in the comments. There's a lot of folks out there that do that. That's how you can tell the real from the fake. I just want to say thanks now to anyone that did give back, and I'm going to quickly call those out right now. Anybody that just joined or gave back with a super sticker or super chat. While I'm doing that, a reminder that I'm live every Monday, Thursday, and Friday as I look ahead at the upcoming month. I'm live every Sunday for a 7-day forecast. You can still watch that for this week. And I do a daily 1-card reading. You can click the Shorts tab on my main channel page for more information. It's 1 card, 1 minute for those of you that are in a hurry. With that being said, let's begin with the members from today here. So Leslie, thank you so much for rejoining. Sue, thank you as well for joining. And let's see, we have Kathy and also Juhi Lee. Thank you so much to all of you for either joining or rejoining. It's good to have you as a part of this extended, it's like a family here, it's extended community. All right, super stickers and super chat, and then we'll wrap up. So today we got a couple. Thank you so much. We have Sunny, Monica, Catherine, and Dominique. Much love and light. Thank you so much for spending some time, for giving back a little bit, and for making this just a really cool experience for me as well. Wishing you an empowered and a really just an abundant month ahead. From my heart to yours, wishing you all the best, guys. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.